Minnesota Vikings could and should be looking to upgrade the quarterback 2 position behind Kirk Cousins, the Tim Pop Pizza Ranch dictator, and be looking for the QB of the future. And the Minnesota Vikings offensive coaches yesterday were potentially doing that as they attended Texas A&M Pro Day. And yeah, since they're offensive coaches, they definitely weren't looking at linebacker Buddy Johnson or nose tackle Bobby Brown III, who I like a lot. Obviously, they were there to watch quarterback Kellen Mond put on a show at his pro day, and no, he cannot play guard. You'll remember Kellen Mond from Chris Sims' quarterback rankings, where he checked in at QB4 ahead of Justin Fields and ahead of Trey Lance, both of whom are likely surefire top 10 picks. But it's interesting from the Vikings standpoint because of where they draft, so it could be a little bit problematic, but let's talk about that later on. Let's talk about Kellen Mond today. Background: 21 years old, turns 22 in June, 6'2.5", 211, former four-star recruit from San Antonio, Texas, played some high school ball at IMG Academy in Florida, committed to Texas A&M, a nice little get for Kevin Sumlin before being fired. And then Jimbo Fisher coming in, was a 4-year starter for the Aggies, throwing for a career 9,661 yards passing, 71 touchdowns, 27 picks, 132 quarterback rating, 81.7 PFF grade in 2020, also ran for 22 touchdowns. Played at the Senior Bowl and led the American squad back all the way back from a 13-0 deficit, was 13-25 for a $173, 2 touchdowns, was Senior Bowl MVP, just like Christian Ponder. Dun, dun, dun. Pro Day ran a 4.59 40 as well as showed off the arm and athleticism. Fun tidbit, by the way. So Kellen Mond could have made a nice impression on the Vikings last year when they were evaluating eventual highly paid UDFA wide receiver Courtney Davis. You remember him. Him and Kellen Mond go way back like chiropractic. Pros with Kellen Mond: arm strength, natural thrower, good mechanics, ball pops out of his hand, and despite the small frame, can hit NFL throws, the deep outs, the corners, the bang eights, etc. Pocket awareness, so he's very good at feeling pressure, keeping eyes downfield, trying to make a play, delivered some nice balls under duress at College Station. Mobility, yes, he can run, but that's secondary. He's not a running quarterback, he's a quarterback who can run. There's a big difference. It's more used to buy time, keep looking downfield, and just trying to throw a dart. Calm leader, so he's not a rah-rah dude, but you can tell that the Aggies respond. Good kid, high character, puts in that work. I like it. Pro-style offense. Jimbo Fisher and company are a little bit more old school offensively than their college brethren, and a lot of progressions and concepts that translate to the pro game, which is a bonus for Mond versus players like Kyle Trask of Florida or even Justin Fields from Ohio State, who are coming from more of a spread option style based passing attacks. Cons: so the slight build. Of course, Vikings fans will be creeped out by a quarterback with skinny knees, but does need to add some good weight to be able to hold up to the NFL and that pounding. Consistency: it comes and goes, where some games he plays like the best quarterback in the nation, others he disappears and then he shows up later and then has a comeback, especially with his accuracy. And even though the Aggies went 9-1 this year and won the Orange Bowl, a little beatdown over North Carolina, you would have liked to see more. And that leads into plateaued in college, where he's been on the draft radar for a couple of years, but he never really made that leap last year, his junior season, or in 2020, his senior year. Lastly, draft spot. So 14 seems way too rich for Mond, plus the Vikings do have other needs, and there's going to be a lot of specific talent on the board for what the Vikings are going to be interested in. And the Vikings drafting at 78 and 90 will also likely be SOL, because I think Mond ends up being a second round or maybe early third round pick. And then you have teams like the Saints, the Steelers, the Patriots, or even the Bucks who would like some estate planning at quarterback. Pro comp: so Tyrod Taylor, Ty God isn't a perfect comparison, but I also didn't want to compare him to Mitchell Trubisky Ponder because, but I actually think the latter is closer. Good thrower of the football, mobility, needs to be more consistent, and is definitely a project. He's not a guy that you want to take a number 2 overall in the draft like Mitchell Trubisky Ponder. But it is interesting that the Vikings coaches went to College Station yesterday, checked out Mond in person, because you can watch all the film you want, but there's just something about seeing a kid in person. It just makes a different impression. And it's interesting because there are so many other pro days going on. Bama had their second pro day, Ohio State, etc. But could that mean that the Vikings are ready to maneuver, get into the second round, and pick up Kellen Mond and redshirt him for a year or two behind Kirk Cousins, which I think might be the best scenario for Kellen Mond to develop as a pro? I think that if he's thrown to the Wolves right away, it has to be an immediate starter for a team week 1 next season. I don't think that's going to work out the best for him. So it would be a great situation with the Vikings, but I don't know. I think it would be lunacy to take him at 14. Even if you traded down in the first round, I think there's still other needs that you could address given the specific talent of the composition of the board at that time. But I do like Kellen Mond. I'm not in love with him. I do like Jamie Newman and Davis Mills slightly better, but I like Kellen Mond over Kyle Trask, and so I would put him, I don't know, that'd be what, roughly quarterback 8? But third round, 78, that'd be a hell of a deal. I don't think he'll be on board at that time. But the Vikings get a nail driver at 14. They get Darisaw, they get Slater, they get ABT, and then they use all that remaining draft capital to maneuver around and get Kellen Mond, their QB of the future. Can't be mad at that. Can't be mad at that at all. Boom. Be your thoughts. Vikings coaches at Texas A&M yesterday, watching Kellen Mond. Let us know in the comments section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support that work? Post up in the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.